Authorities in Iran on Thursday, the fifth day of protests over the high cost of living, mark a significant escalation in unrest. Local media outlets have reported deaths of protesters. They also reported a member of security forces killed during protests on Wednesday. Demonstrations began on Sunday in Tehran and have spread to several cities. The Iranian president accuses foreign forces of destabilizing the country.
We are engaged in a full-scale war. Right now, the enemy has placed most of its hopes on knocking us down through economic pressure. You cannot conquer a nation with bombs, fighter jets, or missiles. To defeat us, they would have to come and fight us on the ground.
The anger now centers on the government's handling of a currency collapse. The Iranian rial lost half of its value in 2025. Inflation is above 40%.
It was mainly students before who took to the streets under the slogan, "Women, Life, Freedom." The pressure now is such that everyone is out on the streets. Our parents, grandparents are also collapsing under the weight of economic and social pressures due to the actions of the Islamic Republic.
Iranian authorities in recent years have quashed protests from demands for women's rights to calls for political freedoms, often with tough security measures and extensive arrests.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, it's his job to keep the power on. That's why he chooses...
Okay. For some reason, I am not... I could have sworn I had another video to show, but maybe not. I don't know. Thanks for joining the Gregory Wright Show. I will, let's see here. Thanks for joining the Gregory Wright Show. I am here to explain why Iranian citizens are in an uproar. They are protesting primarily in Tehran, but in 43 other cities spanning 18 other provinces. That is a large-scale protest. That is a large-scale protest. And I don't think that the mainstream media is talking too much about it. Which is the reason why I think that we're the new media. We have to be the new media because we cannot rely on mainstream media to give us fair and balanced news. We cannot rely on mainstream media to give us fair and balanced news. Every once in a while, my computer goes through this short little reboot thing here. I want to show you another video. I think it's going to be a little controversial, but 34 seconds long, and this is kind of like the danger of being out during these protests. I think it's important as citizens to protest, especially if they're not happy about how government officials are governing. If the local dollar collapses or whatever medium of exchange that other countries use to get goods and services, if that collapses overnight, then I think that the citizens of any country, any city or whatever reserves the right to protest and actually really show up at the ballot box to make sure that to vote these people out of office who are not doing right by the people that got them elected. And then you also have sanctions and Israeli involvement with Iran's nuclear program back in June of 2025. So you have this buildup of angst among the Iranian citizens who are again protesting in 44 cities across 19 provinces in Iran. I think that guy got shot. God bless his soul. I hope he's all right. I truly hope he is all right. All right, we're going to get down to the reason why the citizens of Iran are protesting like never before. Current day, the protests are is reached about a week. They are, of course, ahead of us, so I think it's already the morning in Iran right now. So obviously, if the citizens who think that their governing officials have done them wrong, then they'll be out today again until this issue is addressed. And it may escalate to violence between the protesters and law enforcement. I just hope that it does not escalate to that point. But it already seems that it has. And so the ongoing protests in Iran, which began in late December 2025 and has spread to multiple provinces, are largely fueled by a combination of deep-seated economic crisis and broader political grievances. I'll read that again because I think my computer skipped. The ongoing protests in Iran, which began in late December 2025 and have spread to multiple provinces, are largely fueled by a combination of deep-seated economic crisis and broader political grievances. While sparked initially by shopkeepers and merchants in Tehran's Grand Bazaar reacting to immediate economic pressures, the unrest reflects years of accumulated frustrations. Below is a breakdown of the primary driving factors based on recent reports and analysis. The number one driving factor is severe economic mismanagement and currency collapse. The Iranian rial has plummeted dramatically, losing over 50% of its value against the US dollar in the past year alone, reaching lows of around 1.42 million rials per dollar in late 2025. So the rial or the real, I think it's the real. The real is Iranian currency, and you have to have 1.4 million reals for $1 American. That is insane. I mean, I get why these people are upset. This devaluation has eroded savings, devastated the middle class, and made imports unaffordable, hitting businesses reliant on foreign goods hardest. Chronic issues like government corruption, inequality, shortages, and hyperinflation exceeding 40% in 2025, with food prices surging up to 72%, have compounded the problem, leading to widespread strikes by workers and traders. Recent fuel price hikes and subsidies cuts have further inflamed tensions, reminiscent of the 2019 protests triggered by similar policies. So they were protesting 7 years ago. The number two driving factor for Iranian citizens to protest in 44 cities across 19 provinces is high inflation and rising costs of living. Inflation rates have hovered around 40 to 42% in recent years, driving up the price of essentials like dairy up sixfold in 2025 and other goods up tenfold, making daily life untenable for many Iranians. This has led to a hunger revolution sentiment, with protesters expressing anger over deteriorating livelihoods, unemployment, and poverty amid elite corruption. Economic analysts point to fiscal policies, budget deficits, and prioritization of funding foreign proxies vis a vis Hezbollah and Hamas over domestic needs as exacerbating factors. The number three factor behind Iranian citizens protesting in the streets is international sanctions and external pressures, which I believe we should not be involved with anything related to Iran unless they become a nuclear war threat. And we've handled that business in June 2025 when we sent three uh, 352 bombers out there to destroy their nuclear facilities, right? And then, of course, you have Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu from Israel, that seems to have President Trump wrapped around his little finger. You have Bibi Netanyahu instigating on how to strike Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, or any other body of people that seem to be a threat to Israel. And Israel needs to pump their brakes. They need to fix their own country before they start bombing others, right? Um, the number four reason why Iranians are protesting in the streets is environmental and resource crisis. Widespread water shortages, deadly air pollution from mismanaged infrastructures, power plants, burning dirty fuel due to natural gas shortages, and environmental degradation have sparked localized protests that feed into the national unrest. These issues, often blamed on regime incompetence rather than just climate change, have led to strikes in sectors like oil and gas, amplifying economic grievances. The fifth reason why protesters in Iran are out in the streets is because of political discontent and authoritarianism. Beyond economics, protesters are chanting against the theocratic regime, accusing it of authoritarianism, corruption, and failing to address public needs since the 1979 revolution. Lingering resentment from past uprisings. For example, 2022, Masha Amini protests over women's rights, and recent incidents like the assassination of activists have broadened the movement to include calls for regime change or restoration of the monarchy. Some demonstrations have seen defections or strikes by key workers, especially in the oil sector, which could escalate if security forces refuse orders. Right? And then I'll just sum it up. These factors are interconnected, with economic woes serving as the immediate catalyst, but rooted in long term systematic failures. The protests have already resulted in clashes, deaths, and arrests, with the government acknowledging some grievances while cracking down on the protests. So I believe like seven people died. We didn't get to that. I guess I didn't ask AI to give me that information, but it's it's pretty solid that I gave you five solid reasons why Iranians, the citizens of Iran are out protesting in 44 cities across 19 provinces because of their failed leadership, the dollar crashing or their real crashing against the dollar. It takes 1.42 million reals to get $1. That is that is insane. That is despicable. And so I think another reason, the sixth reason, is because the current president, how do you pronounce his name? Masoud Pezeshkian, president of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian, is not really the one in charge. Yes, he is the president, but he is not the one really in charge. The one that's really in charge, because Masoud Pezeshkian is only a straw man. He is only a front man. Just like Weekend at Bernie's Biden for 4 years was the front man for who was really running the country, which was the deep state, in my opinion, and including President Barack Hussein Obama. So think of think of President Masoud Pezeshkian as President Biden for the last 4 years. He wasn't running a show. There were people behind the scenes running a show for him. The guy who was really in control is the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He is the supreme leader of the land, and he can override Masoud Pezeshkian any second of the day, every year. Okay? So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So there's a confusion up at the top in terms of where the corruption is coming from. Is it coming from the Ayatollah? Is it coming from the president? Is it coming from both of them? Is there a power struggle between Masoud Pezeshkian and the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei that's causing supply chain issues and oil issues and water issues and export import issues? There are real crashing issues. Do we need to get rid of one of them in terms of, or do the people of Iran want to restructure their own government? Because the government is for the people, by the people. And if the majority of Iranians want a restructure of the government, I believe it should happen unless there's a dictatorship going on there. And listen, there is a dictatorship going on there. The president doesn't, Masoud Pezeshkian, he doesn't call the shots. Like I said before, it's Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader. So there's definitely a bottleneck in decision making there. I think one wants to do right. Well, I don't think any of them want to do right by the people. I think that the people of Iran need to overthrow the president and the Ayatollah, but it is not up to the United States to step in and be the world's policeman. The people of Iran, the good citizens of Iran, they need to look within their ranks and find replacement figures or a replacement figure to become president. Get rid of the supreme leader, or if the supreme leader, Ayatollah, runs the show, then what's the use of having a president? And so, the people of Iran need to get their act together. We definitely don't need to be doing this. I think President Trump sometimes just needs to shut up. I really do. And he wrote, if Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And you know who's really lapping it up? Bibi Netanyahu from Israel. Israel would like nothing more for the leadership of Iran to be decimated. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. We need to stay the heck out of foreign affairs unless it directly encroaches upon American values and American interests. We need the Iranian people to come together and work with the merchants and all the bigwigs besides the president and the Ayatollah. They need to come together and restructure their own government. And if a revolution ensues, then hey, well, let that be the case. But the United States should not be involved in that, in my opinion. And I think that another thing that I want to say before I sign off is the fact that we have to get ahead of this narrative. The narrative that's going to be created is the reason why Iran is in disarray is because of the bombing of the Iranian nuclear facilities in June of 2025. And Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel and President Donald Trump from the United States intervene in that manner. We have U.S. sanctions on Iran, which we've had before President Biden took off the sanctions, enabled $6 billion to fall into the hands of Iran, and then in turn fell into the hands of Hezbollah and Hamas, and allegedly helped arm them and prepare them for the October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. So we need to get ahead of that narrative. You know, President Trump is not the reason why Iranian citizens are protesting in 44 cities across 19 provinces. They're protesting for the reasons that I read off. Their government sucks and they're tired of it. Their real, their dollar crashed. It's worth nothing now. You need 1.42 million reals to equal $1. And there's water scarcity, oil, natural gas scarcity, there's food scarcity. They're unable to use agriculture to grow their own food. Their dollar crashed. The president and the Ayatollah sucks, and they don't care about their own people. These are the reasons why Iranian citizens are protesting in the streets of Tehran and 43 other cities across